this is JC. Welcome to Missed Again, where every missed shot is a lesson. It's not about perfect play, it's about my struggles and honest progress. Today we're going to talk about where to hit the cue ball. This video is in response to a request by Jack7520 and it's to discuss where to hit the cue ball to achieve different objectives. I realized that early in my game, I too had no idea where to hit the cue ball or why it should be hit at specific points. Sure, I knew about follow and draw, but I did not always know when, where, or how to hit specific spots of the cue ball. That was something I learned much later in my game. Maybe a bit too late, but better late than never. So hopefully I can help you out if you too are trying to figure out where to hit the cue ball. As the topic is too large, I'm splitting this video into two parts. For most shots, you shoot at a specific spot on the cue ball to manipulate the natural path of the cue ball after contacting the object ball to get the cue ball to a specific spot on the table. This is also called cue ball control. There will be times when you hit the cue ball at a specific spot to manipulate the behavior of an object ball, like to counter cut-induced throw. But for most shots that you take in a given rack, the purpose of hitting the cue ball at a certain spot is to control it. So for purposes of this video, we will not take into account the cut-induced throw to keep things simple. It is impossible to show all scenarios, but hopefully this video will offer some baseline references so that they'll be useful starting points for beginners and advanced beginners. There are essentially two basic paths you want the cue ball to travel after contacting an object ball. You want to move the cue ball to a position on the table without hitting a cushion or after hitting a cushion or cushions. In this video, we'll focus on the first scenario, moving the cue ball to a position on the table without hitting a cushion. We can control the path of the cue ball after contacting the cue ball in the following four ways. Move the cue ball forward a specific distance. Draw the cue ball backwards a specific distance. Stop the cue ball upon contact with the object ball. Move the cue ball off an angle for a specific distance. Let's first discuss moving the cue ball forward a specific distance. There are two ways you can do this. Probably the most fundamental shot in pool is the straight-in center ball hit. Anytime you shoot the cue ball with a center ball hit after contacting the object ball, it will roll forward due to natural forward roll. The only exception is if you hit the cue ball hard enough with a center ball hit and the distance is not great. The cue ball will stop in its tracks as all its energy is transferred to the object ball, so there's no more forward roll. This is a stop shot, and I'll talk more about it later. You generally want to use a center ball hit with a natural forward roll when you want to cover a relatively short distance to get to another ball after you pocket the object ball. The distance the cue ball will travel forward depends on how hard you hit it. This is known as speed control and is an important technique to master in pool. The other way to make the cue ball move forward after contact with the object ball is with a follow shot or by adding topspin to the cue ball. You will use a follow shot instead of a center ball hit when you need the cue ball to travel further after hitting the object ball. You perform a follow shot by hitting the cue ball above center with a level, smooth stroke. In almost all cases where you only need the cue ball to roll down the table without hitting a cushion, you should not hit it hard, but instead use a soft, smooth stroke with follow through. As with the center ball hit, speed control determines the distance the cue ball will travel. Speed control is something you must develop through practice and repetition. Now let's talk about drawing the cue ball back. This is the draw shot. The draw shot is a finesse shot in which you manipulate the cue ball to move backwards after contacting the object ball. This is usually done because it is the most direct path the cue ball needs to take to get to the next ball, or all other paths are blocked. Here you see a similar shot to the first one, but with much more distance between the first object ball and the second. You perform the draw shot by hitting below center with a very level and smooth stroke with good follow through. It is a very difficult shot for beginners and even advanced beginners, especially when it comes to the amount of backspin you can impart on the cue ball. I'll soon be making a video explaining why the draw shot is so difficult and sharing how I learned it as an advanced beginner. An important shot in your arsenal is the stop shot. This is where you should hit the cue ball for a stop shot. A stop shot is needed in positional play, such as shown in this example. I need to pocket the 9 ball and then the 8 ball, but due to the position of the other balls, I need to stop the cue ball immediately after it contacts the 9 ball, so that I can have a shot on the 8 ball. The stop shot holds the position of the cue ball almost exactly after contacting the object ball. The good news is that if you can perform a draw shot, you can perform a stop shot, because a stop shot is much easier. Traditional instruction says to hit the stop shot just below center, but this only works effectively when there's a short distance between the cue ball and object ball, like up to 12 inches. Rather, you should hit the cue ball at the same spot you would a draw shot when performing the stop shot, and adjust your speed control. Check out my video on the stop shot to learn how to adjust from the center ball to below center hit. For long distances, if you use a center ball hit to shoot a stop shot, you need a lot of power, making the shot very missable. More likely than not, the cue ball will not stop and will just roll forward. So learn the stop shot by hitting below center for all distances. Now, most shots that you take will not have the object ball and cue ball lined up in a straight line towards a pocket. Most of them will actually be angled cut shots. So you need to know where the cue ball will travel when you hit different spots on the cue ball to make it go forward and contacting an object ball. So as to not repeat information I've previously shared, watch part 1 of my Where the Cue Ball Goes series to see where the cue ball travels to after contacting the object ball. Click the link in the card above or in the description below. But as a reminder, a center ball hit will travel approximately 30 degrees away from the object ball after contact using a medium stroke. Note that the cue ball will not strike the cushion directly in front of the golf tee, but will rather come into the line of the golf tee. This is similar to when you hear players talk about shooting through to the diamond. A follow shot will shorten the angle slightly as more forward roll is imparted to the cue ball, and this will be more obvious at longer distances after contacting the object ball. The draw shot will force a much wider angle due to the backspin put on the cue ball, and varies based on how much backspin you impart on the cue ball. A stun shot is basically a stop shot when hitting the object ball at an angle. It will cause the cue ball to travel along the tangent line between the cue ball and object ball. This is because in a stun shot, there's no forward or backward roll on the cue ball. It basically slides to the object ball and then travels along the tangent line away from the object ball predictably. Well, that's it for this video. Unfortunately, there's no system to calculate exactly where to hit the cue ball and at what speed to get a desired result, at least not to my knowledge. The reason is that everyone's stroke, visual perception, and body mechanics are all different, so no one system can fit everyone. Through practice and repetition, a feel must be developed for the exact spots and amount of speed. I know that is not useful information, but hopefully you can use the shots shared in this video as your baseline. You will need to work to find the variance between these baselines with speed control to manipulate the cue ball to the paths you need it to travel to. However, at least you have some tangible starting points. Here's a final tip echoed by a great YouTube channel, FX Billets. If you're performing a follow shot, hit the same spot above center every time. If you're performing a draw shot, hit the same spot below the center every time. This way, the only variable you have to deal with is your speed control. It will really pay off in the long run in building your muscle memory. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. If you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It will really help the channel out. Every miss makes us better, so let's grow together. My name is JC. Try not to miss again.